ought to have so much faith and have gifts that they'll never be in debt.
It's like a godsend to small African-American churches across the country. Abraham Kennard delivers a financial program too good to turn down. In exchange for a small fee, Kennard offers churches up to $3 million. In meetings around the country, Kennard puts on a good show, handing out checks with great fanfare.
I want to tell you tonight we thank God for you.
But in reality, only a handful of churches have been paid.
We had waited like for 6 months or 8 months. I still have hope of getting paid. Not this time, but my time is coming around again in another few months.
And some pastors are starting to ask questions.
And the million-dollar question was, all of the time, do you have the money?
Somebody asks, I just want to know when the big money gonna fall. It's already done failed.
Kennard starts to feel the heat, but it seems he has an answer for everything.
He did the blame game. He always had somebody else was the reason why the money wasn't getting there within the 90 days that he stated we'd have it.
That's why it's going to take us a little time. We can do it. It's just a matter of putting this information in the computer.
Kennard insists the program is strong and urges church leaders to keep the faith.
He would encourage us that it's coming, and he made it sound convincing that you need to get in now.
All your bills will be took care of.
In June of 2002, Kennard announces a meeting in Orlando, Florida, and promises everyone will get paid.
Florida is going to light up because God has chosen Florida.
So many people at great expense flew to Orlando or got there anywhere they could, and a lot of these folks didn't have the funds to easily do that, but they wanted to make sure they were there for the payout.
On July 26th, Kennard takes the stage.
Now, I know many of you anticipate walking across the stage tonight with your check.
Then he drops a bombshell. He says there won't be any payouts.
But you won't be tonight walking across the stage with your check.
The whole place was in pandemonium, and many preachers were crying, many were angry.
How many of you judging me right now? If you're judging me, you're judging God.
But pastors try to keep the hope alive.
Faith is reaching out into nothing, grabbing hold to just something and waiting for it to manifest.
While church leaders head home empty-handed, Kennard and his entourage take a trip to Disney World.
He spent around $6,000 and had a great time at Disney World after he just destroyed the hopes of all these pastors.
You get sick in your stomach to know that you've been, deceived and you've been used to deceive someone else. You really get angry.
When I kept hearing the delays, when I kept listening to the conference calls, that's when I got suspicious that something is wrong here.
We began receiving calls from churches who had invested money with Mr. Kennard. We've invested this money. We're not getting our money. Please help us.
In July of 2002, FBI Special Agent Tim Coakley takes the case and begins looking into Abraham Kennard's investment program.
There was thousands of people calling him, wanting their money back or demanding their grant money.
Coakley suspects Kennard is operating a fraud and that hundreds of churches have been victimized. On January 29, 2003, FBI agents raid Kennard's Georgia estate. They seize boxes of bank statements and business records. What they cannot find is any proof of wealthy investors backing the program.
We were unable to find any investors. We found many representations made by him that he had investors. We found videotaped evidence of him claiming there were investors. Put all of that information together, and you have a clear-cut case of fraud.
Investigators discover that in less than 2 years, Abraham Kennard conned more than 1,600 churches out of about $9 million.
We did the math, and it would have been over $1 billion to pay what he promised he would pay.
Of the $9 million he took in, Kennard handed out just $1.3 million back to pastors during church meetings. The rest of the money was used to fund his lavish lifestyle, including 23 vehicles and property in Georgia.
He operated on that money. He lived on that money. He bought a lot of cars and toys with that money.
And very proud of it, taking pictures of himself on beds covered in $100 bills, traveling by limousine, traveling to Las Vegas, traveling to the Bahamas, taking cruises.
He had a party. He brought boats. He was flying first class. He scammed a lot of good people.
Investigators also discover Kennard is an ex-con and has tried to run similar schemes before.
And it wasn't until he put God behind this and the religious theme that it ever worked. And gaining the trust of some well-respected pastors and getting them to believe in him is how this thing took off.
In January of 2004, Kennard is charged with money laundering and mail fraud. Authorities prepare to make the arrest. But when American Greed returns, investigators discover the false prophet is nowhere to be found, and the hunt is on.
It's one of the most powerful natural forces on the planet. Contact with it could make you millions, and we'll show you the secret to